Unity Radio.
We used to hang out talking, just kicking around. We discovered a love that had never been found.
Worcester, we got you.
Hi, and welcome to Black in Business. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne, and happy Black History Month. Oh my goodness, what a privilege it is to just celebrate. I mean, personally for me, Black history is 365, 24/7, but it's an honor to recognize just the contributions and all the things that, folks don't know. I would say it's a time of education to teach others about our culture, just everything that makes up the Black diaspora. There's just so many things. And if somebody learns, hey, somebody learns. So I am so grateful to be the host of this wonderful show called Black in Business on Unity 97.9. Shout out to Ernie, the executive producer of Unity Radio. And I'm always excited when I get an opportunity to pop in the studio and talk to someone Black in business. So today in the studio with me, kicking off Black History Month, I have Kay Fingers with me. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
Good.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you for having me. I feel really honored now. I didn't know I was kicking off Black History Month.
So you better represent.
No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure. No, you're fine. You're good. You are fantastic. Now I want to thank Ernie. We both get different guests, but Ernie was the one that recommended you. So thank you, Ernie. Happy to share. So I'm gonna have to ask the question because
yes.
If you know Black music, you know the band Sade, right?
Yes.
Okay. So your shirt says K Fingers Band. So are you K Fingers or is K Fingers a band?
Well, I'm K Fingers.
Okay.
And the band is Ernie Floyd on drums.
Okay.
And Dwayne Rawls on bass. On last two albums, which were actually produced and composed before Ernie and Dwayne came on board, we have a guitarist named Paul Yu. He does the guitar work. And our saxophone player's name is Bobby J. So when you put everybody together, it's me, but I also have a band. So it's the K Fingers Band.
I love it. And I asked that question. So if you know, there's been a long debate for years. Is Sade the person or is Sade the band? So I had to ask that. I was like, I'm going to do it. So I'm just messing with you.
Yep.
Well, welcome to the show. I really appreciate you
for having
popping on. And, shout out to the viewers who tune in. And for those who are watching live or those who are going to tune in at a later time, we absolutely appreciate you. So
Thank you.
As I said, welcome to the show. Happy Black History Month. And I just really wanted to kick off, you're K Fingers, you're a musician, you're an artiste. So just really want to talk a little bit about how did you first start loving music? When did you first start loving music?
As far back as I can remember, I always joke and say that my first words I ever spoke were My Sherry and More by Stevie Wonder. I still remember when I was a toddler walking around, singing My Sherry and More. So from childhood, my family is very musical. My grandmother, she was a pastor at Amy Zion Church. Rest her soul, God rest her soul. Emma J. Boykin, Grandma Boykin, everybody knew her by. My mother was in a singing group who sang around Worcester. Her and my two aunts and another woman who was like an aunt. And they had a group and they used to sing on WTAG. This was way back in the day. And coming up, my brother and sister and cousins, we lived on Belmont Street in a 6 family house, and everybody just about in the house was related. I think there was one family in there who wasn't biologically related, but they're part of our extended family.
Come on now.
And so there was music on every floor. You had gospel on one floor. You had James Brown on another floor. You had the Temptations. You had Earth, Wind, and Fire. So I came up with all these albums and CDs and Soul Train and Don Kirshner's rock concert. And then, as time went on, we got MTV Raps and stuff like that. So music's always been a part of my life. And since I was a child. I used to go to school, and teachers used to yell at me because I was always banging on the desk with playing some drum beat, and the teacher would always, Keith, will you knock it off? And of course my friends, we always listened to music, love music, would sing in the projects and rap in the projects, so it's just always been a part of my life and a part of the community.
All right, so you mentioned, so there's just so many different names you mentioned in that your answer. So would you say
Yes.
that you're influenced more by one style or the other, or is just everything is just a combination of everything?
It is a combination of different things. And coming up, I went through phases of music, coming up in a household full of different music, and then my taste kind of evolved. I remember, Earth, Wind and Fire was a big influence, Stevie Wonder. And then once hip hop started to emerge, I became a rapper. I'm actually in the documentary Wartown Rising that, Kaz put together, where I talk about. And that's what got me into producing, because me and, a couple other rappers and my cousin Sean, DJ Master's son, we had a group. And we had a gentleman that was making our music, and when it got to a point where he couldn't make our music anymore, I kind of panicked. I was taking music theory at North High, and I was learning the guitar and the piano, and so I said, okay, it's time for me to put my skills to work. This is sort of a state of emergency with our group. There's nobody here to do our music, nobody here to, so we invested in drum machines and synthesizers, and I relied on what basic knowledge I had of music and started putting music together. And that was really the beginning of me becoming a producer, me and all of us really in that group and in that circle becoming producers. And I've been a producer ever since, and a composer. And I never thought that I would be a music teacher. That kind of happened because I got involved in a community center that used to be here, big agency here in Worcester called Prospect House. And they asked me one summer to work in Plumley Village at a summer program and teach some kids how to play music. And at that time in my life, I was like, kids? I don't want to work with kids. It's like, oh man, I have my nephews and nieces and all, and these little kids running around. I didn't realize that was a calling. Sometimes on your journey, you don't know when you're being called to something. You think it's one thing and then it's something else, and it's a higher calling.
Absolutely.
So fast forward a couple of years later, when I went through some experiences that kind of, changed me spiritually, and I started to, I looked at my community in a whole different, light. It was like a paradigm shift. And I started getting more acquainted with my culture, my heritage, who I was. And my whole concept of community just, it just did a 180. And now I looked at kids as something I wanted to invest in. And that's when I started teaching music. And next thing you know, one thing led to another. I'm doing music workshops everywhere. I became the music teacher at the Boys and Girls Club for about 10 years. And now I'm, I work in two programs engaging young people in music. One of them is called IVOC, Inner Voice Out of Change. Isaiah Tucker runs that program. Isaiah, yep. And it's a therapeutic music program that happens at different schools. I'm at South High. There's also one at North and other schools like that. And it's just beautiful to be able to engage young people in making music and music production, playing instruments. It's just like heaven to me. I'm in my element. Whenever I'm surrounded by music, whether it's on stage with Ernie and Dwayne, whether it's at IVOC, whether it is in the studio actually working on an album, I'm just in my element. I'm just, that's me. And there's another program called the Broader New Horizons, run by Lisa Maddox and Robert Anderson, which is through the Multicultural Wellness Center. And it's a youth development program that focuses on 5 core competencies such as self-development, self-awareness, restorative justice. And we do different workshops, and music, of course, is the one that I usually run, where I get kids involved in music and show them how to use music as a coping skill to help them deal with different emotions they may struggle with, whether it's anxiety, anger, uncertainty, depression, trauma, and how music throughout our history has always been a coping mechanism. That's how our ancestors, our forefathers got through some of the worst times. And that's how we get these different genres from all over the world of Black music that became rock and roll, that became reggae, that became calypso, you know, that became all these different styles. We have hip hop, blues, gospel, you name it. All of these music styles grew out of us having to cope with difficulties and suffering. So here we are in 2025. And I'm still engaging young people. Yeah.
Woosah.
Yes, here we are, 2025.
Woosah.
Still needing music to cope through these difficult times.
You know, it's funny. My previous guest that I had on the show, we talked about music because she's putting on the music, and you know, and she deals primarily in gospel music. But for me, I think music has the ability to shift, to change, to command, to influence, to help, like you said, to cope. And you know, if you go all the way back, you know, all the way back to Negro spirituals and things like that, those were things that, you know, our forefathers used to, you know, honestly just for peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
For peace. And, you know, I do like something that you said, you know, like you was like, oh, I'm not trying to teach no kids. Sometimes we try to run away from our calling. Right. And it's such a big thing because you said through that, now you're at IVOC, which is a great program, you know, for kids. You mentioned the Multicultural Wellness Center,
Broader Horizons program there.
You know, absolutely. So music is like embedded in every aspect of your life, no matter what you do. So you sing?
I used to sing.
Okay.
When I was a child, I used to sing Earth, Wind, and Fire. Well, actually, let me go back. The Temptations.
All right, then.
Was who I used to sing.
Okay.
In fact, at Belmont Street Community School, I'll tell this real quick, funny story. At Belmont Street Community School, I was in first grade. And there were higher grades, of course. It went all the way up to sixth grade, elementary. So the older kids from the neighborhood found out that I could sing the Temptations, you know, and I was just doing it for fun because I love the Temptations.
Yeah.
They would chase me. Let him sing Papa Was a Rolling Stone. They would chase me and then they would surround me so I couldn't get away because I used to run from them because I didn't really want to be singing.
I know.
So, but I love the Temptations. And to this day, some of those same people come up to me. Do you remember you used to sing that song? And then, of course, it was Earth, Wind, and Fire. One young man, you know, growing up Plumley Village, you know, I lived on the east side, so I was always hanging out in Plumley Village. And there was this one song by Earth, Wind, and Fire he used to love to hear me sing. We was like 11, 12 years old at the time. And so he got so angry with me one day because I wouldn't sing it. And there was some shopping carts from the market a couple of blocks down that used to find their way into the projects.
You know.
And he took the shopping cart and he threw it at me because he really wanted me to sing that. And he was livid. He said, I'm not playing with you. You better sing that song.
Oh my God.
But that's Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Okay, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Okay. Listen, I mean, I honestly, from far back as I could remember, we've had some just phenomenal singers, you know, with us. And, you know, most of them are gone, but like the music lives on.
It does.
You know, could pick up and hear a Temptation song and it still touches you. Marvin Gaye still touches
Bob
you.
Marley,
like Sam Cooke,
Yeah.
Bob Marley, like all of these incredible. Okay. All right.
And I, you know, then I got into rapping. The last time I actually was really influenced and excited to sing was Babyface. And that was, you know, back when he, you know, when he wrote, was popular. And
we're going to come back to that because something just happened with Babyface and we're going to talk about that. Okay. All right. So we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to continue about the lasting impact of music. So thank you all for tuning in. I am Positively Suzanne and we're on Black in Business on Unity 97.9.
Right.
Hey, it's DJ Kid Cash. You're locked in to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connections.
Kingdom Voice in Music, Unity Radio 97.9 FM Worcester, and Keep Rising Entertainment presents a Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream. Join us as we share inspiring stories of immigration through music, theater, and dance. Our Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream's immersive experience, also includes an art gallery, cultural food, and local vendors showcasing their work. Don't miss our Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream, February 8th at Mechanics Hall in downtown Worcester. For more information, visit kirosha.com/Black History. KIROSHA, kirosha.com/Black History. Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream. Celebrate with us.
Fam Jam Event Group presents the Worcester Renaissance Gala fundraiser, calling all patrons of the arts. Help us incubate youth, women, and ethnic minority-owned businesses as street vendors or performers in public spaces in the city of Worcester. Search Worcester Renaissance Gala on eventbrite.com. Hosted by Girls Inc. at 125 Providence Street, Worcester, Mass. Saturday, February 8th. Check out the Hot Cocoa and Chocolate Bar Networking Hour, sponsored by Breeze Sweet Treats and Aesthetics by C, starting at 2 p.m. Support our cultural food vendor market during the presentation and pledge hour, 3 to 5 p.m. Do your thing at the all-ages Soul Train Dance-Off After Party, 5 to 7 p.m. Free entry to the after party with a new or gently used art or music supply. Tickets on sale now at eventbrite.com. Search Worcester Renaissance Gala. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Fam Jam Event Group or on Instagram and TikTok at Fam Jam EVT GRP. Prepare your gift to share. Let's be legendary together.
Selfish love.
Hey, this is Ricky Duran, and you're listening to Unity Radio on 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
Welcome back to Black in Business on Unity 97.9. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne. If you are not watching my show, Sipping Tea with Suzanne, you are missing out. Sipping Tea with Suzanne is a show that I produce through my studio, Positive Vibe Studio. It's every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Make sure you tune in. You know, I highlight some phenomenal people in Massachusetts, and, you know, still waiting for Oprah. There's a space Oprah for. I will bump any guest for Oprah, okay? But anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and thank you all for tuning in on Black in Business Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on Unity. So, you know, right before we went to the break, we're talking to Kay Fingers, who's in the studio with us, and we were talking about Babyface, and it's funny because you talk about him being an early influence on you, right? And he was just recently at the Grammy Awards, and it's just his longevity,
Yes.
his talent. So I'm gonna have you go back to your Babyface story. Like, you knew him like way back.
Yeah, I didn't know him personally. It's funny. I had a friend from Indianapolis who used to talk about him all the time before he became Babyface.
Yes.
You know, because there was a group called The Deal, and my friend's name was Doug. Doug, if you're listening, big shout out to Doug. And he used to say, "Yeah, I went to high school with Kenny." Kenny, he kept talking about Kenny, and I would look on, you know, the CD cover, and I said, "Oh, that's Kenny." Okay. Then he became Babyface, and when I heard his production and the stuff that he was doing for Bobby Brown, TLC, Tony Braxton, and so many other people, Boys to Men, I was like, it inspired me to really be a producer. I was already a musician, you know, after being influenced by Herbie Hancock and Prince, but the songwriting and the production was just phenomenal to me at that time, you know, along with Teddy Riley and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. But definitely Babyface. There was something about that sound. There was something about that energy. And that's what really made me love the idea of producing and writing. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think he's phenomenal and talented. And, you know, so on Sunday night at the Grammy, I don't know, for those who watch the Grammy, you know, he was on the red carpet being interviewed, and someone else came on, and, you know, they kind of basically just like shut him down to get to this person. You know, and it really, for me personally, I think, you know, and I think everyone has their opinion, but I never think it's okay to disrespect somebody, whether you know who they are or not. Because, you know, no disrespect to the individual that they were trying to, you know, get. Like, the person is hot now.
Right.
But, you know, like, when you look at like a Babyface, when you look at like a Diana Ross, when you look at like certain, a Barbara Streisand, like certain people, like their music endures, and like it bridges so many genres. He doesn't just write for Black folks. He writes
Oh yeah.
music.
Yeah, he does.
He produces.
Mhm.
I mean, he's
Absolutely.
immensely
Yeah,
talented.
he is.
So I think, maybe the younger generation doesn't get that,
Mm.
doesn't even know who he is. I mean, I saw the apology at the end. She was like, Babyface, like she loves Babyface. I'm like, do you? And it's okay if you don't know him. But I think we've kind of, and I don't want to veer off too much on a topic, but personally, I truly believe that we've gotten away from giving respect to others.
Yes.
And I think it's simple and it's basic.
Right.
Wrap up the interview and get the other person, no matter
Mhm.
who it is.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter if he was Babyface, if it's me, or if it's you.
Right. Right.
I think we all deserve the courtesy
Absolutely.
to finish
Mhm.
up where we are,
Yeah.
and to move on.
Yeah. And we all make mistakes, and I could look at it as a generational
It is.
gap. But I think it's just common communication skills,
Mhm.
which is one of the skills that I teach the young people I work with as a
Mhm.
therapeutic mentor is communication skills, courtesy, respect, and training.
Mhm.
You have to be on a certain professional level and handle yourself professionally. So all of those things come into play. And also if I wonder, and this is just me, the deep appreciation, even for someone who is younger, maybe from a younger generation, if they came up with a deep appreciation for Babyface's music, through all the different people he produced, as well as his own material, you may have had a different outcome. You may have had a different kind of approach to him. So that's just me analyzing it from from an outside perspective.
No,
So,
absolutely. I mean, I like I said, you're right. She knew who he was.
yeah,
But again, I personally think like the deeper thing is, it's like everyone deserves
everyone
respect,
does
right?
deserve
I
respect.
mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
I do what I do, and
Mhm.
honestly would love to cover an award show one day. But and obviously, if I'm talking to a Soldier Boy, or these kids for the current generation
Yes.
that I don't necessarily listen to their music, and I see a Diana Ross, walking the red carpet, like in
Right.
my mind, I'm gonna be gagging, but I'm not gonna cut the person off and like push them
Absolutely.
out as like,
Right.
yo, that's Diana.
Mhm.
I get it.
Mhm.
I'll just. But anyway, I think
Yeah.
but we'll move on. So you
Mhm.
mentioned Herbie Hancock, and
Yes.
you're bringing up a few musicians that like not that you forgot about, but like they were just like, oh my god, like there's
Mhm.
such great music out there.
Yeah.
And I hope y'all are gonna be listening to like right after him, like, who's Herbie Hancock? Like,
Right. Well, let me start talking about Herbie like this. Of course, he was on the Grammys. Him and Stevie Wonder, two of my biggest influences, did the tribute to Quincy Jones, and but I first saw Herbie like Quincy, Herbie and Miles Davis. They all transcend different genres. Herbie being a jazz musician for the most part, but he was also able to break ground in the pop and hip hop genre in the 80s when he put out that song Rocket. And because at the time I was like, okay, Herbie's like my older cousins and my older siblings. They were all into him. I don't even really barely know who he was. I saw him on Soul Train once, but when he did Rocket and he performed at the Grammys in 1984, I was watching, and he had this instrument that I'd seen before, but I never really paid much attention. It was a keyboard with a handle like a guitar. They call it a keytar now. I never really knew what you could really do with those. I said, there's guitars, there's keyboards, there's drum machines, and there's other instruments. I don't know what that is. But he came out and he tore it up in a way and he excited. The whole performance was exciting. Everything about it, the aesthetics, the backdrop, the production, he just really had people on their feet. And the excitement he was able to generate and the sounds he was able to get out of that, it just was such an eye-opener for me, and it planted a seed that would germinate a few years later. And anybody that sees pictures of me online or whatever playing live, oftentimes you'll see me with that, but that's all because I saw Herbie Hancock play it, and I saw what that instrument could do, and I've been playing it ever since.
Oh, I love that. Like something like that just influenced and this shifted like everything. Like you had all that you had known about music, and that singular moment, you're like, that's it for me.
Yeah, that was a defining moment for me when I saw that, and like I said, I've been playing it ever since. And you'll see pictures of me online playing it live, or when you go to see the K Fingers band live, you'll see me playing it a lot. Yeah, and that's because of Herbie. Herbie actually also inspired me to play the electric piano, the acoustic piano, and all of that. So
That's wonderful. So you're a musician and you're a producer.
Yeah.
And you play a few instruments. How many instruments do you play?
I play the piano, the synthesizer, keyboards, of course the keytar, which really is an extension of the synthesizer. But I also, one of the things that I do, like I have 4 albums and I've used music software to produce a lot of those albums. There's live playing on it. So, sometimes people get the perception, oh, you're using FL Studios, you're using Logic, you're using all these software programs. So it's not real music. But, if you're a musician, there's always going to be that authentic playing, and I always make sure that I'm playing the instruments. There'll be some electronic drum machines going, and then live, definitely you're going to see me and the other musicians playing our instruments, because that's what people come to see, and that's what we love doing. We love playing our instruments. But at the same time, I don't. I've always been a big fan of digital recording, and I'll share this with you. Coming up, the big dream, especially, with people like Prince, and we mentioned Babyface, and then the Dr. Dre and the Timbalands and the producers coming up. Our dream was always, man, we want our own studio one day, 24 tracks. We want to have our own studio one day, and it kind of became a dream deferred for many of us until they came out with programs like Pro Tools and Cubase and Ableton Live and Logic and things like that. Now you could have a 24-track studio at your disposal. And it came with virtual instruments, synthesizers, drum machines. So you had all the instruments right there, and then effects like reverb and delay and plugins and things of that nature. And, it had interfaces that you could actually plug live instruments into. So it all kind of came together. And I was like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I never dreamed that one day you could actually have a full-fledged recording studio inside of a computer. If somebody had told me that back when I first dreamed about having a studio, I'd be like, you're crazy.
Absolutely.
But here we are, and kids got recording apps now, Soundtrap and all these different apps where they can actually make music on their phones, on their tablets. And sometimes I hear negative things from older producers and oh man, that's not real, but yeah, it is real, and I have fun with it. I love it. And it's allowed me to be able to produce, the music that I produce.
No, absolutely. I think we have to learn to adapt. I mean, obviously nothing's going to beat. And I wish I knew what I knew then, because when I was born and raised in Jamaica, when my dad left Jamaica and he came to America, he left a lot of records. And
goodies.
Yeah, unfortunately my dad passed away.
Sorry, God rest
but
his soul.
So it's a good thing he can't hear this, because we did turn them into frisbees.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, didn't quite understand what it meant, and he had records like just all like, so I know he's turning over right now and crying. I don't think I've ever admitted that out loud.
Wow. Black History Month.
Like Black History Month, right? Let the guilt go.
Yeah.
So, so I don't think anything like will ever sound like that, because he had the turntable and all of those things. But you do have to give credit to where we are now.
Yes.
And, we're going to go on break. And I just want to say this, and I'm glad that you who have an appreciation for the things that were past, but still could appreciate the now. Absolutely. Because not everyone can afford studio or studio time.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
And on that note, we're going to go on a break. And then when we get back, we're going to talk to K Fingers about how Creative Fingers got started and what they're doing now. So, Positively Suzanne, I'm Black in Business.
Hey, it's DJ Kid Cash. You're locked in to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connections.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Kingdom Voice in Music, Unity Radio 97.9 FM Worcester, and Keep Rising Entertainment presents a Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream. Join us as we share inspiring stories of immigration through music, theater, and dance. Our Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream's immersive experience, also includes an art gallery, cultural food, and local vendors showcasing their work. Don't miss our Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream, February 8th at Mechanics Hall in downtown Worcester. For more information, visit kirosha.com/Black History. KIROSHA, kirosha.com/Black History. Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream. Celebrate with us.
Hello, my name is Alvin Familia, president of the Manny 267 Foundation, and you are listening to Unity Radio, 97.9 FM, Worcester Community Connection.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Graham Anderson, also known as Positively Suzanne, host of Black in Business, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on Unity Radio. Black in Business is a series of conversations with influential members of the Black business community. These entrepreneurs know what it means to risk everything to create successful businesses and spark positive changes in the community. I'm Suzanne Graham Anderson, also known as Positively Suzanne, host of Black in Business. Join me and my guests Wednesdays at 3 p.m. and Unity Radio, 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
Hi, this is Armida. And this is Margie. And we are your hosts for Now I Thrive with Armida and Margie every Wednesday at 5 p.m. only on Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
You're listening to Unity 97.9 FM, WUTY, Worcester.
Welcome back to Black in Business on Unity 97.9. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne. And for any of my family members that are watching, let's not repeat that story at Thanksgiving or Christmas about the Frisbee. All right. We are going to move on from that. So, I'm in the studio. I'm talking to K Fingers, and we have just had such a wonderful conversation. And you're just bringing back to mind so many just incredible, talented artists. And it's Black History Month, and for me personally, there's just so many amazing, talented artists. I was listening to Michael Jackson all day today, and I was just like, that man was like, oh.
That he was.
Such talent, right?
Yeah,
but we're talking about you today, and we're going to talk a little bit about, so you are K Fingers, and how did, for everything that you're doing, you're a musician. I've heard you perform. I used to do the Bob Marley event that the Village did. You've performed there. I've seen you perform at events at the parks, at festivals. I've seen you perform up to last year we had an event at QCC, and y'all let loose after the event was done, and we were on our feet, and we had such good time. Y'all let loose. It was incredible. But let's talk about, how did K Fingers, the band, get started?
Well, the name, I was out in Sacramento, California, and my friend Ropa, he's sort of like my guru when it comes to music production and getting me hooked up. We had a band, and that's how that name somehow developed. They started calling me Fingers and K Fingers, and at first I was like, well, my name is Keith, but then I said, wait a minute, other people have these nicknames with letters and stuff. I said, oh, okay, and it just kind of stuck. When I fast forward into 2012, my cousin Robert Anderson, who a lot of people know as Lump, he came up with an idea. He said, I'd like to take some of the music that we did back in the 90s, and I'd like to do smooth jazz versions of it. And at the time, I was working with Sunta Africa, and I said to him, well, I don't know if that would be misleading, because I'm not really a jazz musician, at least I didn't know I was, or whatever, I'm more on the neo soul side. That's basically what I do. I'm working with Sunta Africa right now, and we're working on this neo soul project. He said, just do you. And I said, okay. So, I came up with this collection of songs, and we called it Explorations. He called it WEC Echoes from the Past. And it was a series of about gee, I don't even remember how many songs. 16 songs are on there. It started off as supposed to only be 8, and it somehow it just became 16. And they're all instrumentals. There's a few vocals on it. In fact, Sunta sings on that album. It's called Explorations. And so then he, I thought everything was cool, and he was enjoying it. He was happy. I was happy. And then he says to me, we're gonna put a live band together. And I'm like, okay, I said, that's going to take a lot of work. We're going to find the musicians. They got to learn the material. It's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. And that's really how the whole K Fingers band started. It's evolved over time. And, after the first album came out, I said, you know what? I want to go back and I want to do another one. And that's when I did Human Elements. And that's when Paul Hugh, the guitar player, joined me and Bobby J. And, we put together the Human Elements album. And we did the video for Get It Poppin', which people can see on YouTube, K Fingers Band, Get It Poppin'. And that's really how the whole K Fingers Band thing came. Actually, Bobby J was the one who came to me and said, because at the time, if I could just rewind back to the first CD, we put the band together after the CD was done, which was mostly by myself with some guest singers and musicians. But when we put the live musicians together, it became the K Fingers Exploration Project. And Bobby J, my sax player, came to me and he says, I think we should shorten it and make it a little more simplified and just call it the K Fingers Band. I said, yeah, let's roll with that. And, and it's been the K Fingers Band ever since.
All right. Okay. So how do we connect with the K Fingers Band, and what are some of the things that y'all do?
Sure. Well, we have our 4th album that's out right now. It's called Up Next. It's a digital album. The last 2 projects I did were digital. One was of just me because it was during the pandemic, and either you had to stay away from people or you had to stay 6 feet from people, and it was just very difficult to get folks together. So I did an EP called Above and Beyond, and now we have one out there called Up Next. If you go on the website kfingers.com, you go to the store, click on there's a link to the new album, and you click on that link and you'll see all the different streaming sites we're on, like Spotify, YouTube, you name it, Amazon Music, Deezer, the list just goes on and on. We're on all the streaming sites, including TikTok, so that's how people can go on and purchase the album, download it. Or if, financially, there's a challenge and whatnot, you can go on YouTube, and the album is on there. You can listen to it for free. In fact, do you want me to tell them about the Valentine's Day thing?
Oh, absolutely. That's coming up. Yeah.
All right.
So there's something fabulous coming up.
Yeah. So if you go on Instagram, on the K Fingers Instagram page, there is a reel, and you'll see it. It has like hearts on it and stuff like that. And if you play that reel and you comment in the comment section the word love, you'll get a message in your DMs, a link in your DMs, and a message from me. If you click on that link, it takes you right to a song called Sending My Heart to You. And it's an instrumental. It's a smooth instrumental, but it's based on romance, Sending My Heart to You. So if you click on that and you listen to it and then you share it with the one you love, it'll be a perfect musical Valentine's Day gift. But it's also for all the fans that have supported the K Fingers Band. We want to just send our heartfelt appreciation to you. So that song is also for you as well. It's called Sending My Heart to You.
I love that. And they find that on K Fingers on Instagram.
Yes, if they go to Instagram, they can also find it on YouTube, because it's called Valentine's Day Smooth Instrumentals on YouTube, but it's the same thing. YouTube's set up a little different. If you go on YouTube, you just scroll down and click on the YouTube link that's in the description, and it takes you right to the song. And then all you have to do, once you open up the song, listen to it. If you like it, just share the link with someone you love.
All right. I love that. Well, so you've dropped a couple of details of how they can find you. Yes. So there is the website, kfingers.com.
Kfingers.com.
You're on YouTube.
Yes.
What's YouTube?
Just K Fingers on YouTube.
K Fingers on YouTube. Instagram?
Instagram, same thing. K Fingers on Instagram, and maybe under Keith Muhammad, so I think either one of those will work. So,
All right. And are you on any other social media platform?
Yeah. Keith Muhammad, also K Fingers on Facebook. But Instagram is the one that, the way it works now, the algorithm and the way it's set up, you can link your different accounts together. So on Instagram, unless I turn off the send to Facebook feature, usually everything that I post on Instagram
Is on
automatically
Insta.
goes to Facebook.
Mhm.
So, I just had to adjust sometimes
Mhm.
because sometimes the automations that are on Instagram are
Mm.
not on Facebook. So, and same thing with YouTube. That's
Mhm.
why on YouTube, the setup is a little different, but the goal is always when they, comment or they click on the link, it takes them to the song.
No,
So,
absolutely. And that's pretty cool. I also know that on the website, there's quite a bit of things that they're able to
Sure.
do on the website.
Mhm.
There is a press kit if they're
Yes.
looking to, what you guys are capable of,
Mhm.
if they want to hire you.
Yep.
There's also ways for them to see past performances.
Yes, there's the store,
Yeah.
where they can get the music and also merch. We have K Fingers Band t-shirts as well.
All right. So what made you decide to do merch?
Well, we got to a point where CDs kind of started to, I don't want to say kind of, CDs started to become less and less a resource for people to listen to music.
Absolutely.
Once downloads and streaming came, I decided to go in that direction because people just, for the most part, there's still a few people out there that'll ask for CDs every now and then, and they'll buy them, but for the most part, people are streaming music now. So once, that happened, we just said, hey, let's just stream the music and people can access it that way. Then I said, we got these tables set up at these different events. And we, if you put CDs out, old CDs, from the first stuff we did, people tend to look at them like, what are these? Every now and then somebody, like I said, will come along. I said, I want to be able to put something in people's hands, because, one of the biggest exciting things about music to me was going to a live concert and walking away with some kind of souvenir. And whether it's a souvenir book, whether it's a photo, a poster, or a t-shirt, or whatever, I said, okay, let's do some K Fingers Band t-shirts. And hopefully I'll expand on these and have different colors coming out this summer. Right now they're black with the white lettering, people can get. And I just wanted people to be able to walk away from, after hearing us live, I want something to remember you guys by. Yeah, I can, go on Spotify, can go on, Apple Music, iTunes, whatever, and access your music that way. But I'd like to have something in my hand to remember this experience by. And that's basically what the t-shirts are for, something solid that they can have in their hand. Seeing that CDs are no longer the way people listen to music.
No, absolutely.
For the most part.
No, for the most part. Listen, the last two cars that I've had, and the last I bought one in, I had a car in 2009, and I didn't, something happened to in 2020, and that didn't have a CD player.
Right.
And this current car that I had doesn't have a CD player. I literally in my phone,
Bluetooth,
in my car, there's Bluetooth in my car.
Yeah.
So I stream from Spotify, Amazon, and anything. So the times change and you have to adapt.
Yes.
So I get it. But if you're like, well, I'm only going to stick to CD, you're going to miss out.
Right.
So things advance, things adapt, and we can certainly honor the past, but we also have to adapt to the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think I love the idea of merch. I think that's important because who doesn't own a Prince t-shirt or a Michael Jackson or a Whitney Houston or something like that, just something just like, and for me personally too, it's just like finding a t-shirt of a concert I went to as a teen. It's like, oh my God, it just brings back this nostalgia,
you remember that experience,
and things like that. So I think that's pretty dope, that you have merchandise for somebody to hold on to. So we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up our final segment. But if you're tuned in, you're watching K Fingers with Positively Suzanne on Black in Business on Unity 97.9.
Hey, it's DJ Kid Cash on the ones and twos. Unity Radio 97.9 FM. Worcester's Community Connections.
Kingdom Voice in Music, Unity Radio 97.9 FM Worcester, and Keep Rising Entertainment presents a Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream. Join us as we share inspiring stories of immigration through music, theater, and dance. Our Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream's immersive experience, also includes an art gallery, cultural food, and local vendors showcasing their work. Don't miss our Black History Month celebration, Courage to Dream, February 8th at Mechanics Hall in downtown Worcester. For more information, visit Kirosha.com/Black History. KIROSHA, Kirosha.com/Black History. Black History Month celebration. Courage to dream. Celebrate with us.
Fam Jam Event Group presents the Worcester Renaissance Gala fundraiser, calling all patrons of the arts. Help us incubate youth, women, and ethnic minority-owned businesses as street vendors or performers in public spaces in the city of Worcester. Search Worcester Renaissance Gala on Eventbrite.com. Hosted by Girls Inc. at 125 Providence Street, Worcester, Mass. Saturday, February 8th. Check out the Hot Cocoa and Chocolate Bar Networking Hour, sponsored by Breeze Sweet Treats and Aesthetics by C, starting at 2 p.m. Support our cultural food vendor market during the presentation and pledge hour, 3 to 5 p.m. Do your thing at the all-ages Soul Train Dance-Off After Party, 5 to 7 p.m. Free entry to the after party with a new or gently used art or music supply. Tickets on sale now at Eventbrite.com. Search Worcester Renaissance Gala. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Fam Jam Event Group or on Instagram and TikTok at Fam Jam EVT GRP. Prepare your gift to share. Let's be legendary together.
You're listening to Unity Radio, Worcester's community connection.
Welcome back to Black in Business on Unity 97.9. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne, and I am celebrating Black history every day, every minute, every hour, every second. But we are honoring Black History Month, and we're kicking it off with K-Fingers. And yeah, we're talking about K-Fingers Band, and we're just having such a good time in the studio talking about music and just so many ways that music moves us and the influence that, you know, it truly brings to us. And I want to make sure that y'all get an opportunity to not only check out the band, but, you know, get an opportunity to find out about the upcoming shows and all that. So the website, kfingers.com, you know, I'm just going to ask you just upcoming shows that you guys have. They're all listed on there.
Yes. We have one coming up March 8th at the Botanic Garden. And I also play with another band. This probably won't be listed on the K-Fingers website. It'll be on the Focus Band website. Bass player Dwayne Rawls. He leads the Focus Band. We'll be playing February 28th at a club called Chopsticks out in Leominster, Mass. So, you know, we got some upcoming things. And hopefully as, you know, the year progresses, we'll, you know, do more outside events. Last year we did a whole lot. It was great. We did the Start on the Street. We did the, I think it was called Main South in the Spotlight, which was a WCUW event put together. Of course, we did the women's celebration at Quinn Sig last year. Robert Jones and Sharon Henderson had us play out at an event in West Boylston, and it's just been a really great year. Ernie and Dwayne are so much fun to play with, you know what I mean? And you know, they're both we're all community people, and we're into building relationships and making connections in the community, and to look out and to see people enjoying what we're doing, having fun, you know, lifting people's spirits. You know, it's a great thing. And you know, hopefully the Botanic Garden and the Chopsticks are just the beginning.
All right. I love that for you guys. No, you know, that's one of the things I was going to ask you, because, you know, weave throughout your stories and, you know, the things that you're doing, you mentioned a lot of the community things that you do. And I think it's so important, like, you know, IVOC, and you mentioned Main South, and, you know, there is there's just so many different things and opportunities for us to bring the whole community together. And like I said, music has the power to do that. So, all right, cool. Thank you. And again, kfingers.com, check them out if you're looking to book them, if you're looking to connect with them. Follow them on Instagram, on the K-Fingers, and do the Valentine's Day thing. So it's their thank you to you, sending love to you. And you can send it to a loved one, you know, Valentine's Day. Let's celebrate love, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So earlier in the show, you had mentioned, and we didn't get a chance to dive into it, the hat that you're wearing, Worm Toe Rising, and the documentary. So just quickly, if you can tell us a little bit about what that was and what made you get involved.
Coming up, you know, I knew a lot of the local rappers because I used to rap. So we had a little hip hop community, and Worcester has a history, a hip hop rap history that's kind of hidden because, you know, we're not a big metropolitan like Boston or New York or Los Angeles, of course. So what Kaz had a vision, and he said, you know, somebody has to really tell this story, you know. And so he spent years really going around talking to different people that were involved in the evolution of hip hop here in Worcester. And I was one of the people that he spoke to. And, you know, and I talked about who influenced me as a rapper, Grandmaster Flash, Run DMC, of course, and then down the road, you know, you had Eric B and Rakim and Big Daddy Kane, Public Enemy, you know, all kinds of groups and stuff like that. And once again, you know, as I mentioned earlier, that's what led me to be a producer. You know, I always loved music, I always loved musicians. But it was actually having to put music behind my raps and the raps in that the other rappers in the group were doing. Someone had to do it. So I kind of stepped up after our first producer left and, you know, got really serious about the keyboards. And next thing you know, one thing led to another. And here I am, a producer, you know.
Full circle.
And I mentioned Broader Horizons too earlier. I want to send a shout out to Dr. Deborah Maddox for, you know, she's the executive director, CEO of the Multicultural Wellness Center. And the concept of Broader Horizons was hers based on the Kwanzaa principles. And, you know, I forgot to mention her earlier, but it's very important that I do that. But getting back to Wartown, yeah, that's a great documentary. I believe it's 4 parts, maybe 5. It hasn't, I don't believe it's been put online yet. There's certain bits and pieces like reels and shorts on YouTube. I think that might be there, but I don't think the full documentary has been put on a streaming site yet. I think Kaz is still kind of working on that. What has to happen is you have to see it when it airs, when he premieres it at different places, you know, because he had premiered it at the Brick Box back when, you know, it first came out, and the place was packed with people who wanted to come out and, you know, learn about the fun and creative history of hip hop, you know, which is part of my heritage and my community. So, you know, and I'm grateful for it. I'll always be, no matter how much I get into R&B and funk and jazz funk and different types of music, you know, I will always be indebted to hip hop for being that first outlet of creativity that I actually started creating and writing with. And that led me to play the keyboards and become a musician.
All right. I love that. So let me ask you this, because, you know, for somebody who's been so influenced by so many greats, is there any, and, you know, even rap, you know, is there any of these current musicians that you really like?
I love the artist Her. Having Everything Revealed. I went to see her in concert. I think she was amazing. You know, she's like a young Prince, you know, and Prince was a huge influence.
She plays phenomenally.
Yeah. There's also a gentleman who's not that known. He's known online. He's from Europe, but he is incredible. His name is French Kiwi Juice, but a lot of people shorten that to call him FKJ. He is somebody who he'll go from one instrument to the other. He'll come up with a bass line. He'll loop that. He'll put that down. He'll pick up the guitar. He'll loop that, and he'll build a song right in front of you. Sort of like going to like a Japanese restaurant and they cook the food right in front of you, and you see it develop. That's what he does right in front of you on stage. And he has a very retro sound. It's very reminiscent of 70s and 80s funk, you know, a little R&B. He'll sing a little bit. Kind of reminds me of Maxwell a little bit. At least that's me personally. He's great. As far as producers in terms of the hip hop sound that's out there, I love Travis Scott, Metro Boomin. I was very happy to see Kendrick Lamar get recognized the other night on the Grammys and win those awards. Not just recognized, but he actually won some really prestigious awards.
5.
Yeah, to say the least. You know, and so, you know, I always have my ears open for what's current. You know, and when I hear, you know, hip hop production, you know, because I'm a musician, so I'm always listening for the melody. I'm always listening for the rhythm. I'm always listening to the syncopation of the beats. I get excited and I get inspired, you know, so, you know, and so I don't really shun the new music in terms of the production and how it's arranged, you know. Some of the lyrics I don't always agree with, but some of them I do, you know. But, you know, and I see hip hop, I see the music of today, even pop music, I see it as a continuum of a long tradition. I see it as an evolution. I don't see it as disconnected. There's folks that may say, well, I don't like the way it is now. I like the way it was. And then there's people that say, well, I think that old school stuff is crazy. I like the way things are now. I feel I'm just blessed with the ability to appreciate it all, you know, because I see the connection. I see the historical tie. I see the timeline. I see the continuum. I see how this led to that, and that led to this, and this led to that. And you know, I just see myself, K Fingers, as just a part of, you know, that whole, you know, phenomenon of music in this universe.
Yeah,
you know?
you love music, whether it's old, current, you know, future. I mean, you know, I think there's all aspects of everything because, as you mentioned, you know, a lot of music was influenced by the past, right? So it's, I mean, you just gotta love it all. I truly believe, and there's certain you know, elements that I'm like, okay, I quite don't understand the ska, ski, whatever, but as my teen daughter tells me, like, it's okay, Mom. You know, you do you, I will do me. All right. So I know that, you know, we talked a little bit about the different instruments that you play, and you are self-taught.
Yes, I did study music. Back there was a time, believe it or not, where in high school you could major in music, and I majored for 3 years in music. I toyed with the idea of going to Berkeley, but I didn't. It's kind of one of the things I kind of look back and say maybe I should have did that for different reasons, you know. But my love for learning and my love for exploring and my love for getting on an instrument or getting into production and saying, oh, this is how that works. Oh, that's how that apps. Oh, this can do this, and oh, you can do this. You know, I'm like a child.
You're
you know,
in
when
love
it comes
with
to
music.
Yeah, I am. And I'm always learning. I'm always exploring. I'm always finding out ways to, you know, level up in terms of my playing, level up in terms of my production, and then show other people how to do that as well. I'll share this, you know, he might, you know, be a little embarrassed about this, and maybe he won't. Ernie is one of my students. You know, Ernie is always there. Ernie always was like, you gotta show me how to play this on the piano, and I want to get this part. And I said, okay, let's do it. You know, so I don't just teach young people or children and teens. I also teach adults as well, you know, because I just love sitting down at an instrument and getting people into it. I just love it.
All right. I love that. And that is a perfect way to end. Well, actually, I have one last question, and you have like 30 seconds or less to answer it. Is there any new instrument that you're eyeing? You're like, I might want to play that.
It's not so much instrument or equipment. I just got I'll share this with you. And I'll share this with the folks that are listening. I just got a controller that Akai makes called MPD. Akai is a company that makes drum machines, and they're the ones that made the famous MPC drum machine, which has been a cornerstone of hip hop and popular music for years, for decades actually. And I just purchased a controller. It's called the MPD. It's basically a controller, and it has software, and you link everything up and you install the software and all that stuff there. And I can't wait to really, I don't want to say master it, but get better at it. And then you'll start to see that in my live shows. You'll start to see me out there. And it's another little instrument that I can engage young people in to say, hey, come over, try this out, you know, make this beat, try this, you know what I mean? And you know, let's put this together, you know. So I'm always,
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, guys, that is a perfect place to end. You're tuned into Black in Business on Unity 97.9. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne. With me is K Fingers. Check him out on kfingers.com. And until next time, ta-ta.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.